There we go. Hello, everybody. My name's Tony Morrow. Welcome to Lost Stars. Right camera there. I apologize for those of you watching on YouTube. I was just checking on the stream there and had to tweak something that got muddled at the very beginning. So if you missed the beginning of that little video trailer that I was showing, then not to worry. We'll show it a little bit later when we take a quick 30-second or minute-long break. Today we are talking about raiders. In that, in the turn that we've gotten back, we have been. Reports are that there are raiders in the northern border region, and that they have taken some casualties. Not that they've taken some casualties, we've taken some casualties. So a quick little update on that and a report on what's going on. But before I get too excited into this whole thing, I must apologize. Getting a little sort of ahead of myself, trying to meet this timing of 2:30. I'm just going to, as I'm talking to you now, load up the map and the turn for, let's see here, yeah, the turn for what came back. So let's start with, let me move things around a little bit here. Dear Tony, come on, you got to be a little bit better sorted out before you get the live stream going here. All right, so as we've had before, I'm going to give you a quick map update, and then we will talk about what's going on. So let me swap out. Here we are, and here you can see the map. So let me just scroll up a little bit, up and down, because obviously the map is a little bit bigger than the little window that I have here. I should point this way, that we can see. So as you can see in the northern border region, we have this large exploration freighter. This large exploration freighter has just discovered a resource. No, my mistake. It's still in that hex, which is undiscovered or unexplored. You have, in this hex here, you have the F series, so like a destroyer, with an escort. And as a recap for what that E1T means, you'll see that there's an E1T and an F3J. Recap. The E1T is like a mini tug, and the mini tug allows you to be able to set up a remote supply point. That allows you to be able to quickly, strategically move assets to that location. In this case, you can see there is a Y convoy there, and that is what we're using for to be able to move the Y convoy to that location. This was building this particular Y convoy was building that base that you see in Papa 10, and that has been built. So things will change here ever so shortly. So you got the F3J. The J again is the penal ship. There's a certain number of penal ships that I need to maintain in order to maintain sort of serenity in the fleet, so to speak. And that's what that is right there. So that's a quick recap. Now, in Romeo 10, or in this area, there should have, supposed to be another one of these YFELs. Can you guess what happened to it? So we had, as the turns progress, you'll get a report back that certain things happen. Let's switch now to that, and I will switch screens here. Now here you can see, I will zoom in so you can better see what's going on. So here we can see that in the previous turn, in turn 32, in Romeo 10, 1 EP from recovery of a lost freighter carrying valuable ore, and in November 16, pirate raids a colony for 1 EP. So those are costs that I incurred. What you're not seeing here is what I receive are emails from our game master that showed me that there had been an encounter with 2 raiders and that large exploration freighter, and unfortunately the raiders destroyed the exploration freighter. As you can see, as I switch over to the map, as you can, and I'll just switch over to the screen here so you can see it. So as you can see, a exploration freighter has no attack factor, has 0 weapons, but it has a 4 defense. Basically, it's got a, it's so big that it can take so much damage before it pops. And so that's what's going on here. So it doesn't have any weapons, so if it's attacked, it's going to lose that fight hands down. Also, it's a slow-moving vessel, meaning that it can't run away. So it can't run away and it can't fight back, meaning that when the raiders attacked it, it was toast. So that's where we are at with that. So let me, ever so quickly, I'm going to open up the amended turn that I will share with you. Tickety tick. Barb a trick. Incidentally, if you were watching this and you're thinking, this looks interesting, and I like this Federation and Empire game that you are playing, I would love for you to join us. You can do that by heading over to Patreon/Lost Stars, and there you can, depending on your preference, offer us some support, which would be greatly appreciated, to be able to help us pump out more entertaining content, thumbnails, specific videos, and different ways to be able to provide you updates around this campaign. You can also participate by either having a ship named after you, have a control of a small task group up to 3 ships, control a fleet of up to 10, or even control a province within the Klingon Empire. How you would like to participate is completely up to you, but take a look at patreon.com/Lost Stars, and you can see how you can participate in this campaign and get a flavor for Federation and Empire. Let's see here. It's taking me a second, and I apologize. All right, here we go. Nope. There we go. Bam. All right. So, let's... I will switch over. Here we go. So here you can see, once again, this is the spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet for turn 32. Rather, I got 32 back, and this is, I would be submitting for turn 33. So just as a reminder, you can see here in this column, this is turn 33. This is what we'll be submitting for. And I'm planning in this spreadsheet, as you can see here, I'm planning for up to 40. So what I've done is I've copied the current income and paid it forward. We are currently at peace. As you can see here, peace means that we are making 50% of our total income. So that translates into right now 27.5 economic points, or basically dollars. And that's how much cash we're making. You can see here in turn 32, going back, this is the freighter that was recovered, and then, of course, the pirate raids that robbed us of 1 EP. You can see here that in this turn, we built an E2, and we also upgraded one of our slipways from an E1, or like a frigate slipway, to E2. That's just the tech level. So, for example, instead of being a W era ship or early era ship, we've gone into sort of what we'll call the middle era, which is Y. Starts at W, goes to Y. M is the Captain Kirk, NCC 1701, USS Enterprise era, and then the General War is the next highest tech level in this game. So we're currently at the Y level, and we're upgrading our slipways. So that's what those numbers mean. E1 is the first tech level. E2 will be the next. That's a little confusing because when you look at the D4 and F4, the number 3, so F3s and D3s were the first level of technology. When we upgrade them, they're going to F4 and D4, and then so on and so forth. But I'll keep you up to speed on how that's looking. So as you can see here, we upgraded a slipway in turn 33 as a result and as a consequence of what happened with that exploration freighter, meaning that that exploration freighter was destroyed. We are doing this. You'll notice that in this column, the D4E becomes available, and it just so happens that we can build it. what is a D4E, Tony? Here we have the list of what we build. I will zoom in so you can better see. So as we go down here, again, D3 being the early era, or W, you can see here the W era tech. The next version of tech iteration is Y. You can see here that the Echo, D4 Echo or Delta 4 Echo, is a survey ship. That means that this ship, the survey ship, does the same kind of job as the exploration freighter. In fact, it has the same chances to explore as the large exploration freighter. When you add a prime team onto this ship, then it makes it just a little bit more effective. But essentially, a D4 Echo is a Y era survey ship, and we can have a total of 3 ships of that class, whether it's a large freighter, exploration freighter, or as you can see here, there was an exploration, or rather survey cruiser that we built that we could build a D3 Echo. And if we go to the map, you will see, as I zoom in, and slide over, you will see right here, there is a D3 Echo. That D3 Echo we built early on, has been doing some exploration. And since we lost that large freighter up here, we can build one and send it up. Why would you want to spend money, in this case, $10, to build a cruiser that can do that versus the exploration freighter? Well, if we look at the exploration freighter, we can see that it has a 3 attack and a 6 defense. 3 attack, 6 defense. This, the numbers on the left versus the right of this forward slash. So that's non-crippled and crippled, meaning that it takes a certain amount of damage. In this case, 6 damage. It would then become crippled, and it would become a 2/3. Basically, its engines are damaged. It can't produce as much power, as much offensive, deploy as many offensive weapons as otherwise. So a 3/6, meaning that it can attack and it has enough punch to be able to defend itself. However, if we compare that to a large freighter, exploration freighter that is, so YFEL, they cost 6, they have no attack, and they have 4 defense. They're also slow, meaning they can only move about, 1 hex per turn. And then later at the modern level, they can move 2. In the case of a D4 Echo, they can move 4 hexes, so that's twice as far as the large exploration freighter. Someone's pinging me here. It's my daughter trying to send me something on Facebook Messenger. They love Facebook Messenger. Where are we at? So yes, D4 Echo. So it can move 4. It has offensive weapons, and basically it can fight for itself. So it's a lot more durable a ship, and it'll be able to run away if that's the case. In the example of the Raiders, the Raider did not have greater than a 1 attack, but because it had a 1 attack and our large exploration freighter had 0, well, you know how that goes. So here we are. So this map is much different from what we saw in turn 30. In the sense that the map isn't that much bigger as far as exploration. We can see, if we take away all the ships for a second, we can see that we have bases in, we'll call that first circle around our home system. And then we're starting to build out here, the second ring, so to speak. And you can see here as well, building this out. So let's map or walk through what the current plan is with regards to building stuff. Okay, so here we are, predicting that we are assuming that there's no change in our income. Here we're building this survey ship to replace the large freighter that was destroyed, and also we are building a base in. And let me bring back the ship so you can see. We're building a base in Lima 12. Where is that, Tony? Lima Lima 12, right up here in this top corner. You'll see there's a convoy there. We're going to build a base there. So we have a base there, a base up here. And then the plan is to move down using the E1Ts to be able to allow for quick movement. And we're going to build bases along this western front. So 1, 2, 3. And up here, these guys have built, excuse me, they built a base here. We're going to build in Romeo 11 and Tango 12. The objective here is to be able to explore out to the, I'll zoom out here so you can see this. We're going to explore out to the edge, the very edge of the map. And then once we've explored the edge of the map, then we can just kind of sort of draw a straight line there and move out. So basically eliminating a front of exploration from our perspective. Good? So let's go back to the map or back to the spreadsheet and let's just walk this forward. So you can see that we've done that. In the next turn, after building the survey ship, you'll see that we're going to be building a prime team. So the prime team being the sort of added value piece to the exploration helps make it explore things a little easier. The prime team can be strat moved up to the base, which going back to the map, and I'll zoom in once again. Up in this northern area, there's a base, so we can strat move the team to the base, and excuse me, and then the survey ship can go to the base, pick up the prime team, and then continue its exploration. Hunky-dory. So that's happening in that turn. And then we're, again, upgrading another slipway. So then this will go from 2 E1s to 2 E2s and 1 E1. And then moving that forward, we're going to upgrade the last E or Echo or frigate slipway in turn 36. So then all of our slipways will be Y-Tech. You'll also see here that I'm building a D4N. What is a D4N, Tony? What is that? So if we go back here, we can see that the D4N is a diplomatic cruiser. This is a special ship that's available to the Klingons. And basically what it is, it's just a D, in this case, a D4 cruiser with a diplomatic team on board. When you look at the cost, it's the equivalent of a D4, i.e. 6 points, plus the diplomatic team. When you look back at what I put in there, we can see that I only put in 6 points to be able to purchase it. Why is that, Tony? Because if we go back, we will see that here on our homeworld hex, I've already got a D3N, meaning I've already got a diplomatic team, a diplomatic cruiser there. And so in discussion with our game master, what's going to end up happening is I'm building the D4, which is, again, the higher level technology ship. The diplomatic team will transfer over, and that D3N will become a D3, and the D4 that I'm building will become a D4N. And the big advantage there, again, is 3s versus 4s or W versus Y-Tech. The W-era ships can only move 3. The Y-era ships can move 4. And it has slightly better weapons. As a D3N, it has a 3-5 attack and defense. As a D4N, it has a 4-6. So just a little bit tougher, and it has great advantages in that regard. So as I'm just doing this, I'm noticing and hearing a little bit of chirping in the background. Let me just take a quick swap over here so I can take a quick look at you, and I'm going to let's take a look at the chat. I had this strange feeling that we might have some chat going on here. Nothing in the YouTube. My daughter keeps messaging me on Facebook Messenger, so thank you so much, my love. And anyone in the chat? Good times. Oh, there was an error. Got to reload the player. There we go. Okay, so things are looking good here. No chat, no commentary. That's fine. Back to the attack. All right, so let's go back to the map. So as you could saw there, we were building the D4N to replace the D3N, basically upgrade that ship, so to speak. It's not really an upgrade. I'm just building one and switching the people over. Then you can see I'm continuing to pepper in these E2s, so building kind of a small fleet of frigates. And here, what's this? Oh, building a D4, so another cruiser in this sequence. And as you can see here, I've got basically this 10 every 2, because it takes 2 turns to be able to build a base. And until I have tugs available, and I'll show you that in a moment, until I have tugs available, I can only use a convoy to build a base one at a time. So what that means is, if we go back to the map, let's say, for example, I'm going to start building in Lima 12 here. As it's building, no other convoy can build anything. So when it's done in 2 turns, I want the next convoy to be in position already so that it can immediately start to build as soon as it's ready to go. So that's how that works. That's why it skips every 2 here. So you can see that's how that's going. Now, what is the difference? The difference is the tug. What is the tug? Now, if you look at the bottom of our spreadsheet here, you will notice in the notes column, and then there is this T4. The T4, if we go to our, what we call MSIT, where are you? Come. Oh, where are you? Here we go. So tugs are in their own category, and the T4 is my tug. My daughter is continuing to ping me. So yes, the tug is coming. So we go back here. The tug is coming, but only in turn 43. We're submitting for turn 33, so we got a little bit of time before that tug shows up. So that's where we're at. We're building, we're continuing this sort of, we'll call it a leapfrog strategy to be able to build these bases, build out the base network, and continue to maximize exploration around the edge. Fait du sens? Makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. So that's where we're at when it comes to the exploration. When it comes to the exploration of the map. Let's come back to me. So interesting thing about this game. So for those of you who haven't been following us up to this point, this game is a game where we are playing this on the platform Vassal. That's the software platform that allows us to be able to create the map that you were looking at moments ago. It's called Vassal, and you upload different modules that allow you to play different games. We have a module for Federation Empire, and that's what you see there. Of course, we use Excel, as you saw, as a spreadsheet to be able to manage, for example, the balance sheet, for lack of a better way to describe it, on how we manage the economics. The shopping list, so to speak, for when it comes to what ships we can buy and when, or what things we can build, as well as research and development, the tech tree, and various other things. So that's kind of where we're going in that regard, and the tools that we use to be able to do that. Because we do this by email, in the sense that, as I showed you the turn, we save that and then we send it out to email to the game master, as opposed to this being a game that's completely automated, whereby you just kind of click through some kind of interface. You click things, and the automated system populates movement of ships and conflict and stuff like that. Because of some IP issues around Star Trek, and specifically the gaming piece, the company that makes this game, Federation and Empire, is called the Amarillo Design Bureau, or ADB, Alpha Delta Bravo. My understanding is that they don't have the ability to be able to create an automated system or like a computer game version of this. For those of you who follow Star Trek and things like this, there was a game back in early 2000s called Starfleet Command. that was a game that was basically a computer game version of Starfleet Battles. Starfleet Battles is the tactical version of the game that we're playing right now. Federation and Empire strategic level, as in like big map, moving units around on the map. And Starfleet Battles is basically a ship simulator where you are driving your ship, your Federation Constitution class cruiser, and you're fighting off the Klingons. And Starfleet Battles is a great game, but it's a paper-based game on a tabletop with a map and counters and so on. They replicated that using, obviously, a computer program. They created a video game called Starfleet Command. There were 3 versions of the game. The last version of the game came out around the same time as Star Trek Nemesis, the last of the TNG series. And yeah, and it was great. Those were great games. First 2 were the first one was a little buggy. Second one was much better, and the third one was by far the best. And just great games overall. But they don't have the ability to be able to create the same thing for... they're not able to create the same thing, the Amarillo Design Bureau, that is, when it comes to a computer game. They're not able to create that, or we haven't seen that created when it comes to Federation and Empire. So when we're processing the game, we don't have a way to be able to automate a lot of those systems. So we have an individual who very selflessly decides to sort of process all the turns. He takes in all the data and he processes that. And one of the advantages of that way of playing the game is it allows us to have this role-playing aspect to what we're doing. So normally in a game like this, it's just a war game. You know what? I'm going to switch screens here. Maybe this will be better for you. There we go. So normally in this game, it's just a war game, right? So you're moving these counters around the map and bang, bang, shoot them up. It's whether you want to call it Risk or Axis and Allies or whatever the game, whatever the tabletop game version that you've seen in the past, that's the game that, you just play a war game. But because of the nature of how we're playing this game, because we have the human component involved in the processing of the turns, we have role-playing aspects that can come into play. For example, at the early part of this game, we don't have, at this point, we haven't encountered anybody yet. And because we haven't encountered anybody, there's no one to play with, so to speak. Once we encounter somebody, we start to get to enter into the role-playing aspect of this. So just like if you were playing Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or some kind of role-playing game, you can incorporate, like a role-playing aspect to what you're doing. Now, because we do this via email, a lot of the role-playing aspects play out over email, but essentially what you can do is adopt a persona, a character. A lot of the players in this game adopt different personality traits, mythologies or stories to be able to shape how their race or the players that the player race that they're playing, the faction, how they are going to come across. And for example, in a previous version of this game, so we've played many versions of this game at this point. In the previous version of this game, I modeled the last game. I modeled my faction after the British heptarchy. So what does that mean? I was listening to, and still do listen to, the British History Podcast, which is a fantastic podcast. But as I was listening to it, and I'm listening to the episodes that are leading up to the period of the Norman invasion, there is a discussion of British history and culture, and there was a political structure called the heptarchy. And I basically recreated that same kind of system as a structure, political structure within my faction, and that played out in the role-playing. So, for example, there were powerful lords and leaders that represented different cultural ethnicities within my species or my faction. And so, for example, I was playing the Praevians. Praevians are like bird people. And I started to model them after every type of bird. So I had owls, I had ravens, I had eagles, I had vultures. and I used those different sort of subspecies or, kinds of birds as political houses or political factions within the Paravian greater political structure. And I played them off each other, and I used that as a dynamic to be able to interact with the other players. And depending on what faction they were interacting with, and depending on how that player chose to respond to me, that would sort of drive certain type of behaviors. In the context of the Klingons, and I'm at this point, the Klingons are very much stereotypical TOS, original series Klingons. There's not a lot of depth at this point. However, the exciting part of this is that as you watching this, if you want to engage and play in this game, you can become a faction yourself. Whether you're leading a small task group, maybe that's your family, leading a fleet, your house, or you're a governor of a province, you can control politically and drive and influence what's going on in the game. For example, when we actually encounter somebody, maybe you are in control of a 3-ship task group that's exploring the border along whomever it is we meet. If we have a discussion and we want to do X, meaning we want to maintain the status quo, we want to be at peace, and we're just going to kind of float along the border, but you decide to do something different and you attack our neighbor, well, that's going to create some interesting role-playing. Are you a renegade faction? Are you kind of on your own? Are you a loose cannon? Or are you representing something more? Are you a sort of like a secret agent or a unauthorized black op, so to speak, that I'm using to be able to, that the Klingons are using to be able to stir up trouble with our neighbors? Are you controlling a fleet? And let's say you have a fleet of 10 ships and you move that fleet of 10 ships, as we discuss, up to a border with one of our neighboring factions. And they don't like that. All of a sudden, there's this massive fleet of 10 ships up on the border. What's going on there? What are you doing with those? A la Cuban Missile Crisis, back those ships up, otherwise we're going to go to war. Or maybe you're in control of a province and you're building the infrastructure in that province, like the bases that we're talking about at this early stage in the game. And you have a bunch of bases that border along the border with this other player. And you start building up space docks and battle stations and really reinforcing like a Maginot Line along that border. Well, and then moving ships up there as well. Is that going to make the other player a little anxious? Are they going to get concerned? Are they going to want you to back off? Is that going to stimulate some kind of chitter chatter, some diplomatic discussion, some diplomatic emails back and forth? All stuff to think about. And you as a player involved in this game can be involved and engage in those very emails. When you get involved as either the captain of a task group or the commander of a fleet or the governor of a province, the other player will send you those emails. I'll get CC'd, of course, but you'll get those emails and you'll be able to respond. You'll be able to tell that Patak to go to Stovacor because, their cowardly ways are dishonorable and not worthy of a Klingon response. Maybe you're going to want to leverage the military position for some kind of economic trade. Are they going to give us money in exchange for backing those ships off? Are they going to cede territory? Are they going to surrender a resource? Are they going to move the border in our favor? Things like that. Are we going to use soft power to be able to expand our borders and exploit our resources? Or are we going to use hard power to exterminate our enemies? That's all up to you. The more of you that decide to get involved in this way, with more ships and task groups floating around, with more ships or with more fleets and governors controlling different factions within this game, the more exciting, the more dynamic, the more fluid this game becomes. The way we play it right now, it's just, for example, myself controlling the Klingons and the other players controlling their factions. But when you get involved, when you start to play and interact in those emails and let us know, when I meet with you on our Discord channel chat and we have sessions where we discuss and debate our tactics and strategies going forward, when we discuss what we want to do strategically or tactically in that turn, we get to play together and you get to interact with these other players, having fun, stirring the pot, poking our neighbors, the other factions into action. It's exciting. So if that's something you're interested in doing, playing this game, stirring the pot, getting things going, then please put your comments in the chat. I would love to hear what it is you'd like to see. And if you're not in a position to be able to support the channel on Patreon, that's okay. Engage with us in the chat. Participate in the sort of strategic discussion as to what we should and want to do as the Klingons. Are we going to be the Klingons, the classic Klingons of Star Trek? Are we going to be aggressive and take no prisoners and honorable in our combat? Or are we going to be more like the Duras sisters of TNG? Are we going to be duplicitous and devious? Are we going to try and swindle our way into an opportunistic scenario? Are we going to be like in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, the diplomats of the Star Trek universe, and driving some kind of peace accord and unity between our various factions? Or are you going to be like a General Chang, and just roll the dice, blow that up, cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war? All up to you. Just depends on what we want to do in this game. So while we are thinking about that, while we are debating, discussing the ideas of how to participate in this game, I'm going to give you one more shot at this video that you can also find on the YouTube channel. Just search Star Trek Lost Stars and you'll be able to find this quick update on what's going on in our northern region. So that's our update when it comes to the Raiders and the exploration. You saw the plan when it comes to the next couple turns, and I will let you know once we get turns back. Excuse me, I will let you know once we get information back on new happenings, new changes, new encounters that we're going to have as we expand our borders, exploit those resources, exterminate our enemies. It's going to be exciting. So with that being said, feel free, check out the other updated live streams where we talk about the survey ships and the penal ships at the YouTube channel, at our YouTube channel, Star Trek /Patreon. Let's try that again. Check us out on YouTube and do a search for Star Trek Lost Stars, and you'll be able to find us there. If you want to support the channel, please, thank you so much. You can do that at patreon.com/Lost Stars. And If you're looking for more and exciting Star Trek stuff, then please hit the like button on this. Show us that this is something you want to see more of. And if you want to get involved, we are looking forward to having you participate in the campaign. That's all for now. And I will see you as I'm trying to find the next screen. See you in the next live stream next Saturday. Bye for now.